Hey there and welcome back to another Fruits Basket video. And wow, it really has been a while since I did anything regarding this franchise. And as you may know if you follow the series, in 2021 we saw the release of the final season of the Fruits Basket anime, and the announcement of the upcoming film, Fruits Basket Prelude, to be released in February 2022, which is obviously what we're going to be focusing on for today's video, where basically I want to break down the events that are going to play out over the course of the film, and where the franchise might go from there. So a big part of this film is going to be centered around the story of Kyoko and Katsya, the parents of Tohru Honda, who are both deceased by the beginning of season 1, telling the tale of how these two individuals met and grew closer, eventually getting married and starting a family. So that's the basic premise of the story. But I kind of wanted to dig a little bit deeper into this and really break down what that main storyline is going to be. So spoilers ahead in case you have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Although if you've read the manga, you'll have a pretty good idea of what's to come. Now we know from the manga and the show that Kyoko had a fairly similar early life to Uotani, finding herself in a gang at an early age with a bad home life and a neglected education. And in her final year of her time in middle school, she meets and grows close to Katsya, who at that point is a student teacher. More on that later, I think. Anyway, much like Uotani with Tohru, she lashes out at him pretty heavily, but he just takes it on the chin and helps her through her struggles, giving her a person that she can trust and confide in, and inspiring her to try harder at school, study, and aspire to actually attend high school. Of course, since nothing can go right for some people, when she tries to leave her gang, she gets beaten so badly she has to be hospitalized and misses her high school entrance exam, which causes her to be disowned by her family before Katsya abruptly arrives and proposes to her. So, yeah, that's interesting, I guess. And of course, it's at this point of the story that they marry and have Tohru, and for a while everything's hunky-dory. All happy. Until it isn't, and Katsya gets a cold that turns into pneumonia, and he dies, which leads to Kyoko'S Depression and almost suicide attempt, and Tohru's transition into becoming the sweet people-pleaser that we know from the show. And for the most part, I like that they're making this. I'm one of those purist types that gets really, really salty when large chunks are cut away from adaptations of books or manga. So this really scratches that itch in this respect. And I think that putting it in its own separate piece of media was also probably the right call. For one, I feel like this sort of backstory would have bogged down that final season. I mean, Kyoko's already dead at that point, so having a flashback within Kyo's own flashback to get this sort of backstory just wouldn't have felt right. It would have slowed down the plot a lot in what was shaping up to be a pretty snappy and concise final season. And then on top of that, I don't know, I think I was glad they did cut it in a way, because look, I get there are perhaps different cultural dynamics, but a teacher romancing a student is very weird to me, like deeply, deeply unsettling. Especially when it's presented as this beautiful and perfect romance and depicted in such a positive light. When I first read that all those years ago, I remember thinking, what? It just felt really odd for my personal tastes. So I'm glad they did keep this separate, because I really think it has not stood the test of time. It's aged like milk. But yeah, I'm trying to be delicate about this, so I think I'll just leave that one be for now. Anyway though, on top of all that, the film's also going to have some brand new epilogue scenes focusing on the lives of Tohru and Kyo post-story, as well as an abridged version of the main story as well. So I guess this is eventually going to turn into an all-for-one for people who need their Fruits Basket fix, but who can't be bothered sitting through hours upon hours worth of episodes. And I can respect that. There's literally nothing worse than needing a fix of a TV show but not having the time to just sit down and watch a whole lot of it. So this kind of stuff is always helpful. And then on top of that, I think this is also getting me a little bit excited for the future with the potential for further installments in this franchise, especially if the film does well. Look, because being realistic, I know this is not the most prominent franchise of all time. But I would really love to see Fruits Basket another animated, or maybe even just something original if they're open to making that work. I just really miss the show and the world, and I'd love for it to continue in some way, shape or form in the future. And so, that's really all I have to say about that. And yeah, I know this is a shorter video than I usually make, but I made breakdown videos for the previous 2 seasons, and I wanted to do one for the movie too, so thanks for tuning in. That being said though, those are just my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. Are you excited for the film? What are your thoughts on the franchise's future? I'm curious to hear what you have to say, so make sure to leave a comment and let me know.